Hello, everyone. It is finally time. I actually shouldn't phrase it that way. Season 4 didn't come out all that long ago, but you all know how much I love Cobra Kai. So I'm basically always eagerly awaiting more of that show. And now I get to tell you what I thought about Season 5. First, a very brief catch-up for anyone out there who might need it. So, at the end of Season 4, Cobra Kai wins the All-Valley Karate Tournament, and what that means is that Eagle Fang and Miyagi-do have to shut down. While Daniel isn't given up that easily by bringing in Chozen to help take down Terry Silver, Johnny's focus is elsewhere because he's off to Mexico to help find Miguel. As one might expect, that right there is only scratching the surface of the Season 5 narrative. There's a whole lot more going on. But of course, this review right here is a spoiler-free review. What that might mean is that some of my analysis might sound a little vague, but hopefully I am still able to give you a sense of how I'm feeling about the biggest stories in play this time around. So let us get into it. And I'm actually going to kick this off with Chozen. Yuji Okumoto did have a great cameo appearance in Season 4, but this is something different, and it's something that's serving a lot of other characters and also the season overall especially well. Not only do we get a much fuller sense of the person that Chozen's become after all this time and all this experience, but he also proves really key to a number of other characters' growth in Season 5. And then on top of that, Okumoto is just an absolute pro at nailing the comedy of the show, but without ever diminishing the stakes in it. Okumoto just wound up making Chozen one of my absolute favorite characters of the show in Season 5, and I love it. And I can also say the same about Tori and Terry Silver. They're two favorites as well. I'll start with Silver here. I said this last season, and I've got to say it again this time around. It is like Thomas Ian Griffith was just made for this role. He does not skip a beat and is just truly terrifying as Terry Silver. I'm not going to say I agree with any of Terry's tactics here, but a big part of the reason why he's such a strong antagonist for me is because Griffith does an incredible job playing up Terry's menace to, up the suspense of the show, but while ensuring that you always know why Terry is doing it. So he kind of winds up delivering the best of both worlds. He gives us a very threatening villain who is quite entertaining to watch, but also someone with depth and goals that maybe we can't get behind, but are well worth considering for the thematic build of this series overall. Now, moving on to Tori. This is something that I also said last season, but I'm gonna say it again. Peyton List's arc as Tori is one of the strongest of the series, hands down. She did some real heavy lifting last season, but I actually think it might be an even more challenging part to play this time around. There are just so many conflicting emotions that List is tasked with juggling at once, and with where Tori goes in Season 5, it just plain old doesn't work unless List can pull it off, and she very much does. All right, again, without any spoilers here, I'll tell you that I'm also a very big fan of how they're handling the Robbie and Miguel situation this season. I don't really want to go much further than that with these characters, but I'll at least tell you that I think they really do earn what they do with them and where they land. So that was a major highlight for me. As for Eli and Dimitri, it does feel like the two of them get sidelined a little bit in Season 5. I'd say especially Dimitri, which I found a little unfortunate just because I've really been enjoying his growth from season to season. They both still have some memorable story beats though. Eli in particular during one fight scene that I absolutely loved, but I am really hoping that we're gonna get to dig into more layers with those two characters and see more binary brothers on display in Season 6. Two newer characters now who really excel with beefed up roles in Season 5, Dallas Dupree Young and Una O'Brien as Kenny and Devin respectively. One of my favorite things about Devin is how she's being influenced by everything happening around her, but she also always prioritizes making her own choices. And yeah, ultimately a lot of characters in this show do that to an extent, but I just think that her determination to carve her own path is especially strong and quite powerful in this world of warring dojos. And man, I cannot believe how, I guess I have to say, scary Young has made Kenny in Season 5. He's in a world where he's one of the smallest of the bunch, but Young uses his screen presence and also his stunt and karate skills to make it feel like Kenny is kind of towering over the competition. And again, no spoilers here, but I do really want to point out with him how much I loved his last scene of the season. There's just something especially refreshing about it that, I mean, I guess I'm going to have to elaborate on that in a spoiler review. I can't go any further, but I really liked his last scene. Next up now, Sam. This is a character arc that again, I just don't think works unless you've got an actor who's able to sell the character's internal struggle as well as Mary Mouser does here. One thing that I've always appreciated about Sam, and something that I think makes her season 5 arc especially strong and also realistic, is that she lets her in-the-moment frustration come through a lot. And, yeah, it would be really nice and a neat storyline for a character to see or hear something that should put them on a better path to, closing the door in a particular challenge. But really, when is anything in life that simple? And Sam is juggling a lot right now. She's got her dedication to her family, how she feels about karate, how she feels about Miguel, and even more beyond that. So even if a solution presents itself for one predicament, it could still be influenced by another thing that's going on. And I think that Mouser really does handle everything going on in Sam's life and how one thing can influence another quite well. Speaking of which, one thing that this show continues to do exceptionally well overall is to convey how these characters need each other to grow. Really, by the end of the season, I think that you can look at every single one of the main players and where they land and say to yourself, this character never could have hit that point had that character not gone through that first. And, a lot of that comes back to our main senseis here, Johnny and Daniel. From day one, Cobra Kai has always emphasized the importance of learning from past mistakes, but this far into the show's run, it can't just be teaching the kids lessons based on the mistakes that they made at their age anymore. It has to grow beyond that, and I think it very much is in season 5 in particular. Johnny and Daniel need to grow as individuals based on the things that they've experienced in the last 4 seasons of the show. And Cobra Kai has done that a bit in past seasons with these two characters, but I really think that they're doing it in a much bigger way this time around. And then on top of that, they're also doing that in different ways for Daniel and for Johnny. And I'm afraid I'm going to give too much away if I highlight how their journeys differ in that respect, but I really do like how they need 2 completely different things at this point in their lives in order to take a step forward in the series. As for the action now, just my God, this cast and that stunt team, they're just so good, and they get better and better with every season. As always, Cobra Kai wraps up with a stellar set piece. Of course, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but I will tell you that the final fight is good yet again. I'm also going to say there's another fight that I absolutely love that takes place in an apartment complex, and I thought that one was a major standout in terms of how damn good the stunt work is, but also because of how well woven that fight is with character evolution. And I think that's the fights that maybe stood out to me the most in season 5. In some cases, my favorite fights aren't necessarily the big elaborate set pieces, but rather, shorter or maybe even more intimate moments involving karate that reflect where a certain character is at that particular moment of their journey. One other thing that I wanted to note with the fights, even though characters, yes, have suffered some pretty extreme injuries in the past, things that are tough to watch, there is something about the level of violence and also, I guess, the amount of blood that caught me a bit by surprise in season 5. I think they have very much earned the right at this point to go that route. The story does truly call for it. I'm only pointing it out because I was surprised they went there in certain respects, but what matters is that it makes sense for the series to dip into that kind of darkness and intensity, and this far into the show's run, and also story-wise and what that demands, I think it works and it pays off quite well. All right, score time. Cobra Kai Season 5 is getting 4.5 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. As I just mentioned, yes, the show can get quite intense this season, but really, Cobra Kai is still very much a series that just plain old makes me happy. And honestly, I think I really needed that in my life right now. I think you can definitely feel the characters maturing more so than ever this time around. And yeah, with that comes more of, that kind of intensity and darkness. But I find that the creators are just really expertly balancing that with the hefty dose of charm and heart that's been there, that I've loved so much since day one. I've really always loved Cobra Kai for how it can feel like an escape, but an escape with real value and purpose. And that is something that I think they continue to well uphold in season 5 of the show. That is it. That is where I'm leaving you with this non-spoiler review of Cobra Kai season 5 at least. I hope you could tell I'm just like bursting at the seams to talk spoilers, and hopefully that just ups my enthusiasm and how excited I am for all of you to experience the new season of the show. So when you do give it a watch, hit the comment section below, and I love playing this game. Tell me, who is your favorite character of season 5? Is it Chozen like me? Is it someone else? Tell me about it in the comments below. Before I let you go now, Patreon shout out time, because this Cobra Kai season 5 review is coming your way courtesy of Logan, top tier member, super cool guy working really hard in school right now. Logan, you are one of the best of the best. I hope all is well, and I hope you continue crushing it with your studies. Big thanks to everybody out there now for watching this review. You know what to do. Like and share and stay tuned, because I got more coming your way very, very soon. Maybe some TIFF reviews.